It is Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Producer Dan along for the ride as well. Oh, and somebody else is here, too. Did you know that?
I didn't. Are you surprising me now? I don't like surprises.
Ready? Open your ears and eyes.
Yes. How'd you get one of those? I can't hear it.
That's right. The Edwin Diaz bobblehead has arrived, courtesy of my friends over at FOCO. I reached out to him. Kat and the crew totally hooked it up. So that thing got here yesterday. Brady ran right over to it, hit the button. He's like, "This is awesome. The coolest bobblehead ever."
It's automatic head bob and shoulders up and down. Then you get this.
Just makes you feel good. And they did a pretty good job with it, too. Looks a lot like Edwin. So,
why do you always get people send you so much stuff? No one ever sends me anything.
That's not true.
Well, sometimes.
I'm sure I don't know. Well, thank you again. So go check them out. It's their FOCO site. You can follow them on social media. That one I think is backed up, but they're going to be getting a ton more in. So Mets fans and baseball fans who love that, just like we do, go get it. I don't know if they're going to come out with an Aaron Judge bobblehead anytime in the near future, but if so, that head better be looking up and out because that's where he's hitting every baseball these days. Not one, but two homers, 56 and 57 in their extra inning win at Fenway Park last night. I don't know what more we can say because it seems like 2 to 3 times a week we talk about his majestic season that he is having. But what has surprised you most about Aaron Judge's 2022?
I don't know, man. Everything is amazing when you talk about Aaron Judge in 2022. I was going over some of the stats. We know about the slug and the homers and all that good stuff. The fact that he's approaching a batting title as well, I think is something that I hold close to my heart. Like to be a 300 hitter and still have the power that he has. I mean, that's like the mark of a true great. Like the greats do that. Like we've had guys that have hit homers before, but also haven't hit 300. Like if you go and look at his second half stats, Chris, his on base percentage is 500. Like this guy is doing everything well. And he's got 16 swipes on the year too. Like I don't think people know that. Like he is doing everything well. It's a pleasure to watch this guy play. He is going to shatter this 61 mark by Maris. It's not even going to be close. I was looking at his months because usually, if you go over people's months, there's going to be one where you struggled. Judge has not struggled at all this year. His lowest OPS in a month is 922. He had 11 homers in that month, and that was in June.
922 is
his lowest one. It's his lowest one. So he's 1.1er right now. I mean, the guy is just incredible. I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, he's going to look good. He's going to look good in pinstripes with the Mets next year. It's going to look great.
Don't fuck people up like that.
They had their chance.
So at the beginning of the year, the whole talk was about the lack of an extension signed. And I think we all kind of wondered how that would play out. Would it affect him at all? Being in New York is a different animal anyway. And so now doing it without a contract, he has been so laser focused and just dealt with the task at hand. I applaud the dude. I applaud him. And by the way, you said, well, listen, there's been guys that have hit homers, but he has a chance to be only the second player ever to hit at least 20 more homers than anybody else in the league. And the only guy to do that is Babe Ruth. So I guess you're doing something okay if we're talking about you and Babe Ruth and that's it. Now, this wouldn't have happened had Mike Trout not missed 40 games, but Aaron Judge can't do anything about that. So I don't care what it is. That's fine. If that's the number, that's what it is. I just applaud him on every facet. There are just a couple of guys out there who seemingly do everything the right way. Steph Curry, him. I don't even know if there's anybody in football that compares because Like Russell Wilson is a good talent, but he's not on their level. And some
Tom
people don't
Brady is
like him
a
'cause they
guy
think-
you can
No,
talk about. Why?
no, Brady's got his problems. He does.
What's his
Not
problems?
everybody loves Brady the way. Now, people might not like Aaron Judge because he's a Yankee, but you
Yeah, it's the
can't
same thing.
dislike Aaron Judge because he's no. I think there's something different with Brady. I do.
Okay.
I don't think he's as well liked as like Curry or he's a little bit in the LeBron boat. I think some people don't like LeBron. Do you disagree with me?
What does that matter though? We're talking about like honing your craft, being an expert at your craft. I mean, those are the guys we talk
I'm
about.
also talking
You're not
about
gonna
being
not everyone's
universally
gonna not
loved.
everyone well, no, I don't think everyone loves Judge.
But the only reason they don't like him is because he wears a Yankee uniform.
Same.
to
I
me,
mean,
that-
the only reason people don't like Tom Brady or LeBron James is because they're good. They're too good.
Nah, I think there's some other stuff that comes along with those guys.
Okay.
I don't think it comes along with Steph Curry and Aaron Judge. I could be wrong.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a good football one now. Now you got me thinking.
I know, because it's definitely not Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's dude, that guy's turned into something like completely different, dude.
Right, he is.
Every time I see an interview with him, I have to watch it now because I'm like, what's going on with you, man?
But I really think that Aaron Judge is he and Ohtani are probably the most popular baseball players, right? I mean, nobody dislikes Ohtani.
Mookie Betts is there too. Does anybody hate Mookie Betts?
Yep. No, Mookie Betts, super likable. Right up there. Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw?
Couple guys.
The only people that hate Clayton Kershaw are Dodgers fans in the postseason. They stopped that now, finally. Thank goodness.
sure
The guy's
did.
an absolute gem.
Speaking of which, Dodgers first team to clinch their division last night. They've won 9 of the last 10 NL West. By the way, I love it that they spray champagne. I don't know if I brought this up to you before on the show, but a lot of my football friends that I work with at NFL Network, like the players in particular, they go, why do baseball players celebrate? Why do they spray champagne when they win a division? We don't do that. And I said, shouldn't the question be why you don't do it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a huge accomplishment. I don't care if you've done it 9 of the last 10 years. That's a hell of a grind to go through. You guys deserve to celebrate that.
Yeah, I mean, and you could say, well, you play for a lot longer in baseball. You know, the season's so long, it almost feels like a relief, you know, but then football is the same way. I mean, I know it's less games, but those are grueling on your body to clinch. I mean, it's one of the coolest things in the world to celebrate and spray champagne and beer. Like, that's so fun. So I agree with you. The question, I guess, is why wouldn't they do that?
Right.
I don't know why they don't.
So I'm happy that teams do it. I like it. I think it's fun. It's good. But
hell yeah, man. We should do it. We should do it. Me and you. Let's together.
Oh, yeah.
Season's
yeah.
over. Season's over. Me and you get together.
Yeah. Well, when we win something, what are we going to
Can we win anything? We should be winning.
Wise, should be able
we should be winning awards, Chris.
Well, they do have the YouTube awards.
Well, I would like to win one.
Okay. I'll see if we can work on that.
Okay.
The question I want to ask about the Dodgers is, what is the one thing that concerns you about a possible deep October run?
As far as like on the Dodgers side, like really nothing. And I think that's the thing is the thing that has to concern Dodger fans is stuff out of their control. I think whatever the Dodgers can control is fine. Like, I think they have everything that they need to have, and they have the players and they have the experience, everything. But if you watch baseball playoffs, you understand there are times where things are out of your control, whether it's a missed call by an umpire, whether it's a couple pitchers just getting absolutely hot and stopping your offense. It could be, I mean, literally anything. One bad start from a pitcher, like, those are the things they have to worry about. If it's just straight up them playing, you know, roster baseball, like comparing rosters and that sort, they're head and shoulders above everybody. But
well,
it doesn't matter in the playoffs because things happen. I think those are the only things that you have to worry about as a Dodger fan, is the things that you can't control.
So if I have to nitpick here, and it's just one little personnel issue for me, and it's the health of Blake Trinan.
Okay.
Okay, the guy has pitched 5 games all year. I know that he threw on Sunday, and he said he feels good and he expects to be back before the end of the regular season. But that doesn't mean that he might not be one and done come October, because we've seen that with him as well. He has been immensely critical to their run over the last 2 years in October. When they won it all in 2020, he pitched in 11 postseason games. Last year, he pitched in 8 of 12 postseason games. I know that Craig Kimbrell and, let it go, let it go. He's feeling better now. That has helped. That has helped calm things down. I think he's like unscored upon in his last 8, 9, 10 appearances, whatever it is. So good. If he's found it, he's found it. But what Trinan allows you to do is, if Kimbrell's not right, is have that veteran presence of a guy who's in his mid-30s that understands the pressure of a postseason, and on top of everything else is just nasty. So I suppose if you're worried about something, it's that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you want Blake Trinan, but they have other dudes that can step up. Chris Martin, who they acquired, like, can be a guy. He's a veteran. I think he's in his mid-30s. So, like, maybe you just swap there. But I agree. I mean, look, you have to be able to set up your pitching, and, knowing that he's going to be in the back of your bullpen would help that a lot. But again, I just think, like, if we're going by the roster, like, they're the team to beat, obviously, but that's not the way baseball playoffs work. The best teams don't always win the series because shit happens, man. I think that's the scariest thing for Dodger fans is the unknown, dude. That's it.
I guess so. Well, tip of the cap to those guys as they become the first to clinch their division. That's cool.
Can't wait
what
to
else
spray
is cool?
you.
Oh, stop. But if you do end up spraying me, you know what I might be wearing? My Muggsy jeans. That's right. I know it has been a boiling hot summer for some of you, but fall is right around the corner. So I need you to go order up your Muggsy right now. And it's not just the Muggsy jeans out there. They've got all sorts of other stuff. The denim jackets. I know that Plouffe has got that. They got the chinos. They got the flannels. So I want you to go to Muggsy.com. Use the code word baseball. You're going to get 10% off the entire site. You have heard me swear by the Muggsy jeans. I love the array of colors. I've got the charcoal gray. I'd never had anything like that before. More importantly, for guys like us, they are the most damn comfortable jeans around. They are stretchy. They are built with proprietary stretch denim. They look great, but they feel even better. So guys who have a big caboose, like yours truly here, you can sit down in your Muggsy jeans and feel great. Sometimes you put on a pair of jeans, your boys are all cramped up in there. You're sitting on a stool when you go hang out with, whomever you want on a Saturday, watching your college football at the bar. You can't move at all. You're like, this is uncomfortable. When is the night going to be over? That is not the deal with Muggsy jeans. They make you feel like you want to stay out all night. They make you look great. They make you feel good. They give you confidence. So I want you to go to Muggsy.com right now. Code word is baseball. 10% off the entire site. Enjoy it. Live life to the fullest. Thanks to Muggsy.
All right. You do look good, Muggsy.
Yeah. I'm about to get myself another pair today.
Charcoal gray.
All right. Atlanta Braves win one on the West Coast, courtesy in part to Dansby Swanson, hit home run number 20 on the season. So in your opinion, has he shown, because he is a free agent to be, has he shown how valuable he is to Atlanta moving forward or to a possible future employer?
Yeah, I mean, he's done it exactly what he needs to do in a walk year. He's played every single game. Those counting stats are getting there, like you just mentioned with the homers. His defense has been great. Like what I think of Dansby, I think he needs to stay in Atlanta, and you just run it back with Riley, Dansby, Olsen, and Albies. Like, you have your infield set. You can set that up, and most of their roster is set and controllable for like the next 4 or 5 years. Like, I think he needs to run it back there. If he does, because I think like a month ago there was a report coming out that they started some extension talks. I don't know if they've gone anywhere. I think he's most valuable in Atlanta. He's comfortable there. Like, there's already, an established winning rapport there. I think it works. But if he did walk and reach free agency and he has teams whining and dining him, I think he's kind of like the affordable option because there's some big name shortstops in the free agency class. If Carlos Correa ends up opting out, which I believe he will, he's there. Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts. I mean, these guys are going to demand more money, more AAV than a Dansby. So like if he does walk, I think a lot of teams will be there for him as like kind of like the affordable option. But I think he needs to stay in Atlanta, get the job done, have that nucleus around for the next. I mean, they already have it, but keep it with Dansby too. It makes sense to me.
So Michelle and I lived in Atlanta when we got married. We lived there from 96 through 99. And then we moved here to LA, and we didn't realize how much we missed Atlanta until we were gone. And I have a feeling that if Dansby leaves, the Braves might not recognize how much they miss him until he's not there every day.
Okay.
I think it says something for a guy at that position to post up. You know, kind of what you're getting, you know. Is he great? No. Is he solid? I think he's the definition of solid. And with that lineup and the guys they continue to bring up, Michael Harris Jr., Vaughn Grissom, Contreras, like he doesn't need to be great in that lineup. Not everybody needs to be a star. And I think that if you're going to pay a Trey Turner, pay a Carlos Correa, pay a Xander Bogaerts, those guys all of a sudden become big ticket items. And then whereas just, hey, Dansby's back. Good. And I think it's nice. It's a nice story that he went to Marietta High School there, Georgia. And, you know, they traded for him after he was the first overall pick by Arizona. And I think it's been a nice story, even though people were shitting on him for a long time.
Yeah, we used to challenge him like you need to step it up. Like if you want to be the shortstop of the future for this franchise, you have to do it. You know, he's improved immensely defensively this year. I mean, a lot of his WAR, he's at 5.2 baseball reference WAR right now. A lot of it's coming from his defense. And I think you're talking about the lineup. He doesn't have to be some masher of the baseball.
No.
Like whatever he gives you, that is such a bonus. 20 homers on the year. I think he's at 87 ribbies. Like, this is all bonus. Like you want your shortstop to go play a solid defense. You want the ball hit to your shortstop. I think Dansby's turned into a guy that you can say that about. Ask any pitcher. That's what they'll tell you. I want guys that I'm confident they can catch the ball. Dansby can do that. And then he does provide some offensive spark. He is a local boy. Like it all makes sense, dude. I love him on the Braves. And he would be one of those guys that if he went somewhere else, you'd be like, I don't know if that looks right.
I think his career would get kind of lost, I think, if he was outside of Atlanta. You know, like would the Cubs end up signing him to something? You know, probably not.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like that sort of team. It just he has his second most homers in his career. He's going to have the most RBI. He's going to have his most stolen bases. He's going to have his second highest OPS. He's top 20 in WAR. Yeah, good enough.
What do you think he gets? I mean, he's 28.
Right. So 5 for.
You think it's 100? Okay. 5 for 80.
Yeah. Because there's too many other guys out there.
He's making 10 this year.
Okay. So 5 for 80 is 17.
No.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically. I mean, it's 16.
I think he might get a little bit higher than that.
Okay.
Inflation, baby. Everything costs more, even baseball players.
Hey, man, that doesn't mean your salary's going up. Yes, there's inflation. Yes, everything's costing more, but that doesn't mean everybody listening
That's
right
what you
now
should tell
watching.
them.
Shit.
If I'm Dansby, I'm like,
All
hey,
right.
price is up.
So Braves win out in San Francisco. Mets lose at home to Chicago. It's just a half game that separates New York from Atlanta there in the NL East. Going to be a fun last few weeks. And the Mets lose with Jacob deGrom on the mound. So New York is now 5-6 during a 16-game stretch against Washington, Pittsburgh, Miami, and Chicago. All teams more than 20 games under 500 this season. Is that a big deal or not?
I mean, I don't think it's too big of a deal. I mean, obviously you don't want to relinquish that lead in the NL East, and you're hoping that these games are just rollovers and you can run off like a 10-6 or whatever, but that's not the case. And I think you just have to say, okay, it's just baseball. I think you can look to some other things that are great. Scherzer, I think, is starting tonight in Syracuse. You can get him back. And this stretch isn't over. So if they go and run off, 4 victories in a row, it'll look a lot better. I was reading some of the quotes and Buck Showalter said something that really stuck out with me. And has really nothing to do with this question, but I can't get it out of my head. He goes, they're asking him, like, do you check the standings, Buck? Do you look at your phone and look at what's going on? And you know what he said? The only time I look at my phone is when it rings. And I wish, Buck, I wish that was the case. Hold on to that. If you really got that going for you, Buck, hold on to that, big guy, because I wish that was the case for me. My phone is going off too much stuff going on my phone. But to answer your question, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, the Braves are playing crazy baseball, and you can't really control that. Yes, you want to have a better record against these teams, but they're not going to be rollovers. So you got to go take care of business. Just you still control your own destiny. If you're the Mets, go out and win.
By the way, with that term, can you really control your own destiny? Isn't destiny already determined?
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. I don't know. People just say that shit all the time. So
I know, but it's one of those sayings that I think we got to challenge. If I had a challenge flag, I would throw it.
I don't believe in destiny.
I'd
though.
put the earmuffs on.
I don't believe in destiny. It's not true.
Now we're gonna get into some weird stuff.
Well, unless it's really a simulation. Okay.
Here's why I think it is a big deal. I think the Mets need the 2 seed way more than the Braves do. I really believe that. I think with their aging starting pitching, they need it. They can't go an extra series. Even if they win it the best 2 out of 3 in the first 2 games, it still will set them back immensely. And I'm not so sure that without a well-rested and lined up DeGrom and Scherzer, that they can make that run that they want to make. I think Atlanta can. I think they could come from the 4 seed and win the whole thing. I just don't know if the Mets can. I don't know if they're athletic enough. Because I think the one thing the Braves can do, man, they got a lot of guys that can run those bases too. That's a big deal in October. And I just don't. I know the Mets are really missing Starling Marte. I know that. I get it. But man, this would piss me off if I were a Mets fan, what I've seen lately.
The thing to remember is the Mets basically have the tiebreaker with the Braves. The Braves would have to win all 3 games of that 3-game set at the end. So this is, it's not just a half game lead. It's a 1.5 game lead. If you look at it that way.
One and a half.
I get that, but I mean,
ain't that big.
I just think I always tell you, man, amnesia, baby. They don't care about that. Move forward. I think there's 3 more games against Pittsburgh. Go win those games. Go take care of business.
Which they have not done very well.
But, you said they're in trouble if they can't do Scherzer and DeGrom and line everyone else up. But I think Bassett and Walker been pitching great. They got Cookie there. I think their rotation is deeper than we give them credit for. It's not just Scherzer, DeGrom.
There's also the Mets cloud that hangs over them.
I don't believe in
that.
I
believe in that. I do. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. You sure as shit believe in stuff like that.
All right. Never had an owner like Stevie Cohen, though.
That is true. I've never had that. The reason I'm wearing a Washington Nationals cap today is because of the amazing story of your former minor league teammate, Joey Menesas, who we showed what happened the other day. He throws a ball to a young girl, we believe, and dude intercepts it. And we had a big talk about whether or not the guy should have done it, whether or not he just should have given it to the girl, whether or not Joey was throwing it. Well, it sure enough was intended for that girl. How do we know? Because Joey sent an autographed baseball with a handwritten letter that said, "I'm sorry you didn't get the ball I threw to you. Wanted to make sure that you got one from me. So here you go. A handwritten note. Oh, by the way, with A+ penmanship.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on that. If you're joining us audio only, come look at us on the YouTube channel so you could see the note. Tip of the cap to you, Joey. That's on top of mashing. You're a great dude. I'm proud of you.
He's a stand-up dude. I've been saying that, ever since he got the call up. I remember having talks with him, and I was a veteran in AAA with him, and I was taking at bats from him, and I was clogging up the DH spot. You know, he had to go play first base and stuff like that. You know, there are times where, you know, there can be like a little bit of a tension factor. You know, I'm this guy, like go home, old man kind of thing. But Joey was never like that. Joey was always asking me questions. He wanted to talk about the big leagues. He wanted to talk about hitting with me. He wanted advice from me. And like, man, we'd have lengthy, awesome conversations. And he was just a student of the game, like hard worker. Everything about this guy I love. And I'm so happy to see him having the success he's having. 907 OPS on the year right now. And he's getting a big run. And I told you, this just makes it so he has another year next year. Like he's got playing time now because of the way he's playing at the end of this season. It's one of the better stories in the big leagues right now.
But can we just pause for a second for him to take the time and issue a handwritten note to somebody to say, you know, I know that the PR department didn't go to him and say, hey, Joey, you know, it'd be cool if you wrote a note. I guarantee you he sought this out and said, hey, listen, that's not what I intended. I really want to make this happen. Let's find out who this young girl is. Let's get her a baseball. I want to sign. I want it. Now, it's great. I wish more people would do it. The fact is, a very small percentage of humankind would do it. That's why Joey deserves some love today. Thought it was
Love you,
cool.
Joey.
What do you have coming up on John Boy Media?
Today we have a Talking Baseball episode coming out. All the boys are there. It's a full house. We go over the tiebreaker scenarios, which is kind of interesting to see because I believe this is the first time we haven't had a 163. So like some of these tiebreakers were set like the Padres have it, the Padres have it over Milwaukee. Okay.
Yes.
They haven't played each other since June 5th. So like this was settled in with rosters that aren't even looking the same. We talk about that. I don't know if I like it, Chris. We go over some other stuff too, like
about it.
Guys that can change their season with the last 2 good weeks. I think that's a fun conversation to have. Then we go over our prop bets that we had before the season. And I struggle bus this year for me. So go check that out. It's a really fun episode. I love when all of us are together. What do you got?
I do too. A couple of things. There is the latest Rose rotation with Tony Clark, the executive director of the MLBPA. There is the latest episode of the Chris Rose football show with CJ Uzama of the New York Jets. We taped it yesterday. It's out today. He was amazing. He's really funny. He talks about so much more than football. I know this is a baseball show, but I want you to just learn the athletes. That's why I do these shows. So get to know him a little bit. It's out there. And then tomorrow, Lucas Giolito is back on the rotation. It's been a shitty year for him. We talk a lot about that and how he just can make it right and what he's doing to make it better. A lot of interesting stuff with him. So that is all coming your way. And we will be back on Thursday. So for our outstanding producer, the one and only Dan Rourke, for Trevor Plouffe, and for Edwin Diaz, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday on Baseball Today.